I am so excited to be able to show you 15 new items out of Hobby Lobby that you can go use and catch fish with right now. So, let's get to it. Well, you did it. Not only did you hit 200 likes on the previous video for Hobby Lobby, you hit 200 likes in less than 24 hours. Now we're at 350 likes in just a couple days. I cannot thank you enough. Now, I kind of wanted to show you guys this one to start this off because it continued from last week. We showed you guys tying a really cool looking, basically a balanced steelhead leech on a jig. Could be used for under a float for steelhead. It could be used under an indicator for lakes, rivers. Works really well. They not only have the unlimited supply there of different colors of solid marabou boas, but I also thought this rainbow one posed a really cool option to end up doing some really neat fall flies here for trout. So I'm going to be able to tie up some here and show you guys for some steelhead as well as trout fishing in our lakes. But look at those colors. The mix of marabou with that is going to be really cool to tie some stuff up. So I just thought I'd show you that one. $3.99. Can't beat it. So you go to a craft store. What's another item that you're probably going to see a lot of? Well, that is yarn. Yes, you're going to see a lot of yarn just like this one. This one is called Fur of the Moment. I like this for two reasons. Well, first being it really looks cool when you start to see what this does. This is a synthetic material that looks just like a rabbit strip. For those guys that like to tie their own streamer flies for trout, this is going to be really fun to use. It's got a yarn backing. We're going to be able to make some really neat flies for sea run cutthroat and for our fall chasing trout. So that got me excited to think about basically an unlimited 62 yards supply of rabbit strips in a natural color. That doesn't happen too often. So that's a cool trick there. How about a dual purpose one for you steelhead anglers? I showed you that there is not only a boa of unlimited materials, but check out this one that has the hackle. Really cool. A lot of different pieces and uses to go with this. But then in that same yarn aisle, check out this little tiny, it's called Mini Maker, basically chenille yarn. Here's what my thought is. We are going to tie ourselves our own hackle style arrow jig with this yarn. You end up getting 65 yards of it for just $1.29. It costs more than $2 for a small 6 to 8 yard spool at a fly shop. Pretty cool. Let's tie something up. All right, we got our jig on the vise. Gonna show you how easy this can be, and this is a perfect yarn to do it with. Okay, so we're gonna tie in our piece of yarn. We're gonna grab ourselves a good looking feather. And we are gonna pull apart as much of these fibers as we can. I'm gonna tie this here and lay that back. The whole point of this is you're going to start to twist the yarn until these fibers roll on themselves. And then when you twist it enough, you'll be able to roll it back and create the tail. You can see how it wants to bind over Right about in the middle there. I'm gonna take this back. And we're gonna put a little tuft there. Not the best chenille wrapping body yarn, but shoot, this is gonna have some really crazy movement with the marabou wrapped into the hackle of that yarn. But for what that is in basic materials, that will catch a steelhead. Since we're staying on the topic of steelhead, what about some beads? Yes, beads. How about a set of silicone beads that pretty much covers every scenario you might run into while out on the water? Silicone, being soft, these are going to be a little bit harder than your soft beads, but they still are going to feel natural to a fish. You pretty much have two sizes, 12 millimeter and a 15 millimeter, and some really cool colors. I mean, those are basic steelhead pinks. You got a hot orange, a chartreuse, and a lime green. So that little pack right there, which goes on sale at 50% off, will definitely be all the beads you need for steelhead and really get it done. So I'm excited to try these out. What about another bead opportunity? 14 millimeter, some zebra stripe beads. Now, I thought this was super cool. Myself, I love that 14 mil size, but having the contrast with this, the chartreuse and orange, and the pink and that stripe, the purple and the chartreuse, and that green and the chartreuse. There's even a pink and a blue. Those could be deadly for steelhead. And frankly, again, this is just a little novelty bead brand, tiger stripe, for $5.50, and they go on sale for 50% off. One can't talk the soft beads for steelhead without talking about ways to keep them pegged and not ripping off your line. One of the easiest ways to go about doing that is a sequin. Show you right here, but a sequin is simple, and at 99 cents, you literally get a bajillion. You have almost a full ounce of sequins. There is probably a lifetime supply in here. But reality, these work great because they are small enough to work on all different sizes. I like putting a rubber bobber stop behind this, so it basically acts as a cushion to cup the edge of the bead, and it won't slide over that bobber stop, and you can keep fishing effectively with your beads. But if you're fishing soft beads, you're going to need some way, though, to interchange and rig them on the line. Well, with that, what about some different pin needles that you can thread these on with? This first one's a basic tapestry needle. It's a size 20. You could put these in a little container in your vest and have them at the ready. Works great. But there's also these plastic yarn needles, which is something to keep an eye on because not only are they easier to spot and see, they're not going to stick you or put you in your vest, but you get 6 of them for $1.50. And these also will go on sale. So that's pretty cool. They work great on the larger size soft beads. I definitely recommend these guys for the smaller ones. But your 12 millimeters and higher can definitely use these guys if you're really careful not to pull them through too fast. Small one for sure. A great one to have in your steelhead arsenal. Now, how do you go about storing your beads effectively? Yes, you can use tackle boxes and little Plano systems that organize it all. But what if there was a way to set yourself up with an individual little bead box? This will help get it done. It'll have your larger size beads. It'll fit these different stuff in there. For $1, you cannot argue this. And what's cool is you could organize them by sizes and then have them in your box to where you're ready to go and grab based upon the conditions you face. So what does that technically look like? Something like this. You have these things ready to go, different colors, different sizes. You can put your bobber stops in one and your hooks in the other. They are awesome. And for $1, that's probably one of the best finds you're going to get for your steelhead season. It's under the jewelry storage area. There are some definite tackle stops in there. Since we're talking tackle organization now with those beads, check out these ones I came across. A little Studio Delight storage box. It's a little container and it's got 28 little containers inside of the big container. With that, you could organize individual bead colors if you had something specific. But my thought was more to this. You could use this for small hook sizes in organizing your bead hooks in your tackle bag. You could also use this on your fly tying desk for all your different components that are really small. If you tie trout flies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This could be a killer way of doing it, and it's only $1.99. So I picked up 2 of these. Definitely something going to help me organize a lot more of my gear. If you need another way of organizing some things, what about a little photo storage case? It's not very deep, but my thought behind this was, what if you had just a few items you wanted to throw together? You could just put them in here. Maybe it's a loose pack of worms. Maybe it's a handful of jig heads and a couple of spoons. Something that can keep your smaller stuff in little baggies organized in one place. It's not going to get all lost and jumbled around and unorganized. So another $1 item, but I think this one has a lot of uses for the river itself. Pretty cool. And maybe it's an inch deep, so not, again, a ton of room, but you can get a few of these and have some different ways to set yourself up. Here's another one from the sewing section. Safety pins. This is one of my favorite things I've come across in years past, was taking a safety pin and being able to organize my barrel swivels as well as my hooks for the different types of fishing that I'm going to be doing. Let's be real. If you're on the river and trying to sort through and dropping all of your swivels around, it happens and it sucks. But what if there was a way to be able to organize your swivels correctly in a fashion that makes them easily accessible, and it makes it a lot more simplistic to get to on the water? So like this, rolling drop swivels for your drift fishing. You could just attach them all together like that, clip them on, and then put them in one of those little containers, and you have sections that you can label and keep yourself organized and effective for what you're doing. This is a 50-piece actually 100 piece, excuse me. There's 2 different sizes in here, so it gives you a few different options if you're using smaller bead hooks for your steelhead fishing, or maybe you're organizing your swivels like you just saw here. So pretty cool little unique thing that I picked up a few years ago. I use it a lot for a different organization. What about another bag style to keep your stuff together? These little jewelry bags are amazing for the price. For the $279, you get 150 bags here. This is awesome for so many different purposes, and I'll show you a different one here in a minute using one. But you can put spinners in here. You could grab what you need to keep your stuff together, and then using one of these boxes, throw those little guys together, and you got your own little traveling tackle box, and you don't have to have stuff all over the place. This can go inside your vest, have all the lures you're going to fish with for that hour or two, and you're ready to rock and roll. So very versatile, definitely something I recommend you picking up. Now, are you ready for something cool? You might have to go spend $20, $30, $40 on some name brands out there. And don't get me wrong, they could be really good. I've never done it myself. But what if you were able to have your own bait bags for all of your soft plastics? If you fish beads, if you fish worms, what if there was a way to keep your soft plastics with you and just throw it in there, into your bag you go, and now you have an organized bait bag for $1. They seem pretty decent for $1. I mean, truly, time will tell if you don't overload it with weight. But look at that. I mean, you're getting to have your own bait bag, and some of those other ones cost $30+. So I'll take the $1 for the win here at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to have all my steelhead and worms in one, and all of my soft beads in another. This goes in my pack. Now my pack's organized. It's quicker to get to the stuff I need to, and I'm fishing faster. If you like to tie small flies for trout, nymphs, little woolly buggers, different patterns that require a little more finesse and smaller bead sizes, well, they have some of these little glass beads for $4, this little tube, and they do go on sale as well. Again, 50% off. These are a perfect little bead to make your chironomid patterns with, to make your woolly buggers in the small sizes. This is something really, really cool, and I definitely recommend you picking up. So these are glass seed beads, and I definitely think you guys want to pick some of these up for your own to tie with. They can also be used for other options too, and I will show you a different time. Having a good little knife with you can be a difference maker at the fly tying desk. I have definitely found having handy little X-Acto knives can make a difference for you for your projects you're using. These are at the front checkout of Hobby Lobby. Really easy to grab one of these for yourself, because what I will tell you, a trick I learned, when you're tying in rabbit fur, this little knife is a game changer to be able to make your flies look cleaner and be able to cut that stuff correctly. Better and more efficient tying sessions with something like this. For less than $3, can't really go wrong in having one of these. So definitely something to throw in the mix there. Okay. Everybody loves a little bit of moon jelly, right? Well, what if there was not only just some moon jelly, but what about some fish scale moon jelly? As a kokanee angler, I am beyond excited to use this stuff and see what we can come up with for some dodger designs to use for spinners. These are more transparent. From what I can see, it definitely shows through the transfer tape on the back. So it's not a solid, but it does look really neat. As far as UV properties, I don't know. It, to me, doesn't think like it will, but this is a permanent vinyl, so you should be able to use it as lure tape and not have any problems with it. I definitely would just recommend setting up a few days in advance if you can, but I mean, tell me not, wouldn't you fish that? I love moon jelly, truly, and this got me excited to try a few new things. So We'll do another video later on putting this in the water and seeing if we can catch some fish on it. Put it to the test, right? Okay, here is the two vinyls just to kind of show you what I was hoping would be moon jelly from what it looks like. Does not really have any UV properties, but look at the scales. It actually is showing up with a little more reflective properties. So, is it an exact match to moon jelly? No, but this has a little bit more UV showcasing than the other. Will they both work as lure tape? You betcha. Can definitely help you catch some more fish. So just thought I'd share that. Now, did you know that Hobby Lobby has a ton of different glitters out there and available? Now, what's really cool with these glitters for you bait makers, okay? If you like to pour your own soft plastic worms, jigs, all the different stuff, this kind of glitter works extremely well. It does not burn, and it allows you to be able to use your stuff and do some really cool projects. So there's a bigger size in a few different colors in there, really every color of the sun. And I got a couple that I know that I like to do combinations with, like copper and blue and some other stuff for the bass world. But for salmon and steelhead, I mean, the bright pinks and the holographics. There is even a glow-in-the-dark glitter, and it is pretty cool. And not too far down the aisles, you're going to end up finding this stuff. Some pearlized mica powder. So you talk about getting that pearl white kind of fluke color that everyone loves. This is the kind of stuff that'll help get you there. And it's a good base starter. I mean, shoot, you could put some of these two colors together and make some really, really neat patterns. I want to do another video here soon showcasing you guys making some steelhead worms, doing some stuff like this. So, bait makers, they got you covered with some really cool stuff. Speaking of bait making, if you guys like to airbrush your own lures, they do have a whole section on airbrushing for models. Okay, but this does bring in the ability for anglers who like to make lures as well. They have a ton of different styles of the Cretex airbrush paints, right? They even have Hobby Lobby stamps on them. But what's really cool is you have a different place you can get some of these basic supplies. They even have a generic airbrush gun there and a compressor. So you could get your whole airbrush setup 101 to be able to get started painting your own baits. Let me tell you, it is pretty cool when you can put a color together and be able to get some of these things to actually work. It really is cool when you can go out and catch fish on plugs that you make yourself. This is one that I'm going to be using for the bass world and also summer run steelhead. But pretty cool with just some basic airbrush paint from Hobby Lobby. Now, when you start talking those paints, you got to also keep in mind there is craft paint. This craft paint can be shot through an airbrush. Sometimes you do have to reduce it a little bit, but the cost savings are ridiculously crazy. It's $5 roughly for airbrush paint. That's pretty standard. 50 cents for this Crafter's Collection acrylic paint. So you definitely have to keep in mind if you're going to be airbrushing lures with acrylic paints that you have to set them up correctly with the dry times and everything else between coats of paint and a really good top coat to seal it all together. But a 50-cent bottle of paint will allow you to experiment, especially even getting a good base coat on with this white. But I have another use for this I'm going to show you. I also came across this one for a glow-in-the-dark pink. What got me thinking about this one, because it's a permanent UV enhanced glow, is that this is going to be something I'm going to be painting up some custom squid jigs with. I think this could work really well. So we're going to experiment with it, and if it works well enough, I'm going to go back and get a green chartreuse as well, because I just thought the pink works always so well for squid. Why not try something out? Now, the finale tonight of what I got is something in the salmon steelhead world that is used a little bit out here on the West Coast, but you East Coasters, and Midwest, frankly, do a lot more of it with your guys' steelhead. Something for you guys that like to tie spawn sacks, whether it's for salmon or steelhead, it's something really fun to do when you have loose salmon eggs, okay? These are going to be something, whether you're curing yourself or you have some small jars available to you, you can make a really super effective bait out of a small piece of cloth that you can get. Now, the spawn sack netting you can buy in the stores pre-cut in pre-rolls, and it works great. But it got me thinking when I was walking through the fabric aisle that you can get some pretty cool looking different stuff. 12 yards of some glitter tulle for $3. Why would this not work? I mean, it's got steelhead written all over it just based on the colors of the netting. It's got glitter inside of it. More than likely, you're going to end up exploding everywhere on yourself, but this is going to be something that could be super cool. So we're going to have to put this to the test and make our own spawn sacks and see how they fish with this stuff versus using the store-bought material. There's nothing wrong with the store ones. Everyone's done that for years. But is this an effective way to save a little money and be able to customize your own stuff? I haven't seen some of these colors necessarily in the spawn netting, so it might be a cool way to do it. Plus, it's got glitter as well. Adds a little bit of flash. Never know if that's a difference maker. So here we are, video number 2, and you guys did it. So I'm so excited to share all this and show it to you. But I want to hear from you. What was your favorite item? What do you want to see me showcase more on the water? I mean, I could have kept talking about these forever tonight, but I wanted to kind of just showcase them at a face front of what I think they could be used for. I will give you, though, a challenge. If you guys can get this video, number 2, to 500 likes, I will use the same stuff that I just put together here and create an arsenal outfit based on this gear, and I will go challenge myself to go fish on the water and see what we can do and bring you guys along with me. That's 500 likes. I think we can do it. If you want to see the first round where we went through 2 really cool ways of enhancing your bait fishing and your jigs right now, check out this video right here, and we'll catch you on the water. Tight lines and fish on!